This is the 2019 pitch final. It's powered by Engineer AI. It's going to kick off right now. So over the last 2 days, more than 60 of the very best startups here at Collision have competed hard to make it to this stage. It wasn't easy, but the judges have narrowed it down to these 3 companies. They're now competing to be named Best Startup at Collision 2019. So in just a second, I'm going to introduce 3 judges. We are, of course, adding a 4th judge, which is you, the audience. So after the pitches have finished, you can cast your vote on the Collision app by clicking on your profile in the top left corner of the screen. From there, you will see an option called Pitch Final, which is where you submit your vote. This voting will remain open for 20 minutes, and your choice will have the very same weight as the judges. So this is how it's going to play out now. Each startup is going to come out and pitch for exactly 3 minutes, followed by a 3-minute Q&A from the judging panel. The winner will be announced right here on center stage today at 4:30 p.m. This year's winner will receive a voucher worth $30,000 towards a product build from Engineer AI and $5,000 in cash. The 2 runner-up companies will also receive $10,000 vouchers for a product build from Engineer AI. Let me now introduce our judges. They've had a hand in finding and scaling some of the world's leading startups. From San Francisco, Renata Quintini of Lux Capital. From Boston, Eric Paley of Founders Collective. And from London, UK, the founder and CEO of Engineer AI, Sachin Duggal. They have the responsibility of choosing the champion, and we're excited to see who they pick and who you pick to crown on today's pitch final, 4:30 p.m. Please welcome them.
All right, you got the middle.
Okay,
all right, that's good. I'll take it.
So our first startup is called Lollyware. They are pioneering the world's leading seaweed technology to replace single-use plastics at scale. Wow. So let's welcome CEO Chelsea.
Hi, Collision attendees. Who wants to try the McDonald's straw of the future? Come see me afterward. Hi, distinguished judges. I would like you to try these straw samples. I'm Chelsea Fawn Briganti, and I'm the CEO of Lollyware. And I'm obsessed with the ocean and its health and well-being, and what that means for humans. Lollyware is the leading seaweed-based material technology company globally, and we have demand in 82 countries across 6 continents, and we are catalyzing a plastic-free movement. We believe that single-use plastics should never last forever. They should be designed to disappear. There are currently 5 trillion pieces of plastic floating in the ocean. I've seen it firsthand. I was down in Bermuda at the Ocean Plastic Leadership Summit last week, swimming with microplastics. It was like I was in a snow globe, plastic floating everywhere. And straws are no exception. We use them and discard them in the billions annually. They end up in our waterways and across our shorelines. I have to ask myself, why, if we're only going to use something once, have we engineered it to last forever? This thinking seemed fundamentally flawed, so I set out to change it. We asked ourselves, what would radical change look like? The straw of the future would last for hours, not centuries. It would be made from carbon sequestering kelp. And after you're done using it, it would disappear due to natural processes. My background is in breakthrough innovation for global CPG companies like Pepsi, Coke, Nestle, and Pernod Ricard. We're backed by Closed-Loop Ventures, Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the Sustainable Ocean Alliance, Hatsimimos Libby, and I'm a CEO of Venture. I focus on radical leaps towards a sustainable future, not incrementalism, and we're a team of chemists, engineers, technologists, and innovators. And we take the building blocks of seaweed and we combine them with super innovative manufacturing methods to create the plastics of the future. This is a huge opportunity. Our early adopters are Marriott and Pernod Ricard, but I've got demand and LOIs for 18 billion straws across global CPG, coffee shops, fast food. For every 1 billion straws that I replace, is 100 million in revenue. And that's just the beginning. With our game-changing technology, we will be creating and commercializing the future of single-use plastics made from kelp. Imagine all cups, all lids, utensils, and films designed to disappear. Together, let's create plastic-free oceans once again for generations to come. Thank you.
Great. So judges.
Hi, distinguished judges.
Some questions from the judges, please.
Yeah, so if you can talk to us a little bit about the actual customer and how do you distribute to that customer. You mentioned 62 countries and all the potential, but how do you actually get to them and distribute?
What we've done, because we are using seaweed and we're very focused on our carbon impact, we've designed a closed-loop system. So we have co-located our seaweed plant near our manufacturing plant, near our customers. And so our first site will be in Europe to service customers who are in desperate need of good solutions due to the EU plastics ban. So we're B2B for massive impact, but we will be offering straws direct to consumer next year.
So my kids absolutely refuse to use plastic straws, so this is great to see.
Sparrow is
Talk about the economics of a plastic straw versus a kelp straw, and how is that going to affect the success of the business?
So the economics of this straw are such that we are on par right now with paper straw pricing. I was on the phone with McDonald's last week, and they're no longer comparing any bio-based alternatives to plastic. They're only comparing us to paper. So what we'll do in the beginning, because our demand exceeds our capacity, we will be selling at a slight premium and driving down the cost once we come down that tech curve with production. So we'll be almost as cheap as plastic by the end of 2020.
Great. And then when you think about the cost of production, how are you factoring in the amount of energy needed to produce the straws, and how is that versus producing paper or plastic straws?
So what we're committed to doing when we set up our factory, which we're in the middle of right now, is using solar energy, using wind power to do carbon offsetting. We're already in great shape because we're not producing petroleum. You don't have the toxic smells. We're very focused on our social impact. We don't want to harm anyone by making these products. And right now, plastic factories, the off-gassing is horrendous. And so we're very focused on that, and that's part of the co-location strategy of making sure our carbon footprint is as low as possible. We plan to do the same thing in Indonesia as well. We've secured seaweed down there, and we will be producing with Dannon and having an ecosystem down there as well to help Indonesia deal with their plastic crisis.
And the ones that you've shipped already, what power source have you been using for production of that?
So we have shipped a few 100,000 straws. Since we're self-distributing right now, and I forgot to mention this. We are not an end-to-end manufacturer. In order to reach scale, we actually have brought on a licensing partner to help us scale to the billions of units. And we're working with them on a sustainable distribution model as possible, just going straight to the consumer.
What are the user factors like of kelp-based straw? We know, obviously, for paper straws, they start to break down as users using them. Metal straws often taste funny. People don't love them. Obviously, you're very enthusiastic, but what are you hearing from your customers about the experience of using the straw?
So what we hear is that a lot of people, they love the mouthfeel of this straw a lot more versus paper, which can get soggy in your mouth. The other thing we're noticing is whereas a paper straw lasts for about 45 minutes, a lollyware straw can last for 18 hours continuous use. And on top of that, what I love to do is I'll be at the office and I'll take it out and it'll dry out overnight and I'll reuse it the next day. So you can constantly reuse it. From our customers, what we've heard is that on average, you need about 3 paper straws to get through one drink. So you only need 1 lollyware straw.
Okay. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Chelsea. That was great. Fantastic. So our next presenter, his name is Dickson Nsofor. He's come all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Corapay is enabling Africans to achieve easier and better access to financial services. So with that, please welcome Dickson Nsofor of Corapay.
There are 1.3 billion people in Africa, and 60% don't have access to financial services. Let me rephrase that. Over 800 million people in Africa don't have access to financial services as I speak right now. And cash is the problem. People save, people pay bills, and people receive money from abroad in cash. Now, one of the major consequences of cash is that cash needs to change hands in order to change hands. And that means there's no way for us to prove transactions done in cash. This particular phenomenon has kept people tied down to the poverty circle. Despite all these inefficiencies, over 45 billion US dollars was received last year by Africans in Africa. Now, imagine I told you there was a platform that could board all 800 million people without cash exchanging hands at a fraction of the cost today. My name is Dickson Nsofor, and I'm the CEO of Pay. We make it easy for Africans to access financial services on the continent. We've been able to achieve 3 major milestones with our first product. We dropped transaction time from 48 hours down to 23 minutes. We reduced the transaction fees from 9% down to 1%. And we interest you to know it's all done digitally. We wanted more from our product, and so we evolved into a platform that is tightly integrated into the daily lives of our users. Hence, the second version of our product. Amanda in West Africa wants to receive money from her mom in the US. Her mom in the US simply boards the Pay platform, submits her information, and instantly she can send money to Amanda. Amanda, on the other hand, in West Africa, simply gets a payment link, downloads the app, and instantly receives the money into her Pay wallet. She can now pay bills, send to any bank, and even cash out. Every single thing she would have done with cash, she can now do with the Pay platform. This is an amazing local product, but there's still a huge gap between a local financial service product and a global financial service product. And so our mission at Pay is to bridge this gap and offer world-class financial service product into our users back home. And so in our quest to build an ecosystem of world-class financial services, I'm pleased to announce to you today that we've headquartered Pay to Toronto, Canada. Let's take a second to think about what Pay is doing. We're enabling access to financial services on a continent that is the next blue ocean. Africa is becoming China's China. And in order for us to harness this economic growth, there needs to be a leapfrog to technology. Join us as we usher in prosperity through Pay. Thank you.
Okay. Questions for Dickson?
How are people using the product? How many users do you have, and what did they do with Pay?
So we launched the beta 2.5 weeks ago. We boarded 1,032 users. They've pushed over $145,000 in the last 2 weeks. A key differentiator that we have in this product is that the standard players in the market now, like say PayPal, are not accessible in that market. It's more like the same reason why IBM didn't come up with Microsoft. It's on the edge, right? So we are a startup who is based there and have grown and experienced these inefficiencies, and we've tailored this product to suit that market. And we are tightly knit, right? We are an end-to-end solution. When you use Western Union or the likes of PayPal, it only helps you from here to the bank. But we see through the user journey, and that's where our unique differentiator is. We can't compete on pricing or time, but we can compete on the change of the user behavior. And that's what we've been able to achieve with this product.
Tell us more about you as a founder. How did you get into this, and why did your journey bring you to this, to building this company?
So it's not just me, right? I have a whole team of Avengers back home. But myself and my co-founder have started 3 startups before this. We've known each other since we were 3. And after building all our startups, in fact, our last startup, we literally drove cash all the way from my country to the next country just to sell our goods and pick it up cash. It will shock you. I was a fashion designer, by the way. Now, those experiences enabled us to see that things were not the way they were meant to be. And then traveling down here and living a bit in the United States, discovered someone needs to solve that problem. And so that's why we're creating this product for that market, a cashless society where people can be able to track their digital history and enable them to get better financial services in the future.
sort of two questions that are related. How do you compete with M-Pesa or someone that's running the first virtual currency? And
I get this question a lot.
And I guess the second one is, how does the money come into the system?
How does what?
The money come into the system.
Yes. Now, first of all, M-Pesa is a holy matrimony that would never happen anywhere in the world. It was a telco, bank, and the government coming together, right? Check every other country, right? Why is there no mobile money in America? The banks don't want the telcos to have it, right? So for a product like CoraPay, we're not tied to a telco, and that's why we can scale. And that's why M-Pesa has never been able to scale more than Kenya or more than Tanzania. So we leverage an open system, and that enables us to scale. Second
question was, how does the cash come into the system?
Oh yeah, so we have 4 major ways cash comes into the system. Remittance is not our business. That's one way cash comes into the system, catering for Africans in diaspora. The second way cash comes into the system is that we built an agent network of 17,000 locations in our first region. And that enables people to take their cash to a top-up point and top up their CoraPay wallet. Secondly, we've done integrations with MasterCard and Visa cards so people can use their cards. Thirdly, we've done all integrations to all the banks in our country, and so you can top up with your bank account.
Okay, I think we're out of time. Big round of applause for Dickson, Nsofor, CoraPay. Okay, up next is our third and final presenter of the afternoon. CEO and founder Phaedra is pitching for Spiro Foods. Spiro Foods is reinventing dairy and eggs with patent-pending products. So please welcome to the stage Phaedra.
"15 years ago, plant-based dairy barely comprised 1% of the US market. But fast forward to today, and 1 out of 2 US consumers is trying plant-based dairy. That's a total market of nearly $50 billion. But these consumers are not fully adopting plant-based dairy into their diets. And why is that? Because the current products just aren't good enough. They don't meet consumers' needs. Research shows us that consumers want plant-based dairy that tastes better, is cheaper, is more nutritious, and is made from clean ingredients without the use of soy or preservatives. We are Sparrow, dairy and eggs reinvented from plants. Our products have unparalleled taste, are more affordable, made from inexpensive ingredients, are high in protein, natural nutrition, and antioxidants, and are made from clean ingredients. As an added bonus, our products are more environmentally sustainable. They use less land, water, and produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions. But not only are our products game-changing, so is our approach. As a former software engineer at Facebook, with background in biosciences and engineering from Cornell University, Sparrow is innovating at the confluence of bioresearch and data science. With pending patents filed under the world's leading biotechnology firm, Sparrow will be entering into every major dairy and egg category as we scale. But don't just listen to me. Hear what Sparrow customers have to say. And they go crazy for Sparrow, even saying that Sparrow and Impossible Foods are the only game-changing food companies in the United States. Backed by Y Combinator, Soma Capital, and angels who are early in Stitch Fix, Uber, and Cruise, Sparrow's demand currently far outweighs our supply. And that's why we are fundraising to disrupt the dairy market, and we're growing incredibly fast. We are Sparrow, the beyond meat of dairy and eggs. Thank you.
Okay, we'll reset the clock to 3 minutes and let the judges ask some questions to Phaedra.
So something that Impossible did that was really clever was actually partnering up with chefs that use the meat, part of delicious burgers, and they leverage the brand of the chef and the fact that, wow, this tastes delicious, to launch and get consumers to adopt. How are you thinking about getting people to know Sparrow and really rise up the crop?
So our strategy is primarily in retail right now, and we really want to draw in consumers based on the unique value proposition of our products. And that's one, from a branding perspective. We don't cater to any niche dietary restrictions, despite the fact that all of our products fit those dietary restrictions. Our products are premised upon health, being high in protein, natural nutrients, and antioxidants, being environmentally sustainable, and just tasting really good. So it's really from standing out on store shelves and being something that resonates with the consumer.
It sounds like your products are already out in the market. You're getting good feedback. Tell us a little bit about where you are in terms of growing the business, traction, and what your plans are in the year ahead.
Yeah, so we launched in January, and we have currently seen an average growth rate of around 200% month over month. Like I said, our demand currently far outweighs our supply, which is why we are fundraising to grow Sparrow to continue to disrupt the dairy market. And our value proposition in the long term is to be the first company that produces price competitive products with dairy.
Where can we find it right now?
Right now you can find us in around 30 different grocery stores located across the country. We have a Find Us locator on our website, and we also ship direct to consumer anywhere in the United States.
Great. 2 questions.
Yes.
Firstly, when you think about your competition, how do you fare against them? And then I guess the second is, you mentioned to get to a price point that's equivalent to dairy. What scale do you need to achieve that?
Yes. Okay. So the first question is, how do we compare to our competition? So Sparrow is poised to be the first company that has a brand identity in dairy and eggs as a whole. So our competition varies product to product. But in general, we use less expensive ingredients. We don't use things like nuts, which are at a very high price point and cost prohibitive to the consumer. So that's one of the main advantages. The other is that our products are superior in taste and in nutrition, with protein and minerals and antioxidants. We don't use preservatives or soy or gluten either, which is a major inhibitor in most of the plant-based products on the market.
Great. And then the second one was, at what scale do you become competitive with dairy?
At the scale we become competitive with dairy is post-seed round, which is what we are currently fundraising for right now, and that's with a little bit of the higher-end dairy. When we become competitive with mainstream dairy is probably post-Series A.
And what's the shelf life of the product right now, and who is manufacturing it for you?
And what was the second question?
Who is manufacturing it for you?
Okay, the shelf life of the product varies anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months, depending on the specific product. And right now we manufacture in-house and are currently looking to scale that.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, big round of applause, Phaedra. Sparrow Foods, fantastic. Okay, so I just wanted to turn to the judges. If you have any observations, without disclosing, who you may vote for, but what did you think of the type of pitches we just saw here on stage?
Well, I think in terms of trends, it was great to see how all 3 companies, they were all very missionary founders, very passionate about what they're doing, and all of them attacking big markets and big shifts and big trends in markets, which are something that at least I as an investor really like to see.
And Eric, I just want to remind the audience that while the judges are commenting on what they thought, this is now the time for you to open the app and start voting for who you think should be winning Center Stage Collision 2019 pitch. Eric.
Yeah, I think it will be hard to decide. I think they actually all gave great presentations, and we obviously don't make decisions usually in 3 minutes, or 6 minutes, but I agree they are all companies that could really change the way their markets work. And ambitious founders who are really articulate about what they're doing and thoughtful. So it was a good crew.
I think it's really encouraging to see entrepreneurs building both profitable businesses and ones that actually have strong social impact. And that was sort of uniformed across all 3.
Great. Okay, so the judges' scores are now going to be collected and counted along with the audience's scores using Slido. The winner of Pitch 2019 will be announced right here on Center Stage at 4:30 p.m. So we're going to take a quick break and a set change. We'll see you all later here today. Thank you very much.